Welcome to the Chaos Chat, where I basically talk about whatever's on my mind regarding Pokemon and hopefully start a discussion that we can all chime in on about these things. I think right now with people throwing around the word scalper in the Pokemon market, I don't know how I feel about it really, or I do know, but it's hard to put into words because not everybody's actually a scalper. A true scalper to me would be someone who goes and buys everything at MSRP or retail and then upcharges just to flip the product. Like it's an individual going to Target, buying all 20 ETBs they put out, leaving nothing for anybody else, and then turning around and selling that $50 or $60 ETB for $120 because that's market value. Market value is determined by what people will pay for it, and if someone will pay $120 because they feel like they can't get it, or because that's the asking price instead of negotiating down, that's not everybody else's fault or problem. So if we can agree that a scalper is an individual who buys product at any price and then turns around and resells it at or above market value, then what about now that like GameStop is selling 151 ETBs for $200 and they're moving? Or Target's not selling things at MSRP anymore. Are they now scalping, or are they just moving with the market? You kind of have to look at what parameters qualify someone or something as a scalper. So if a big box store or like a local card shop is selling it near market or a little bit above, but they have costs to cover and are only doing it because the supply is lower, I wouldn't call that scalping. I know that some people would disagree, but you also have to consider that maybe allocations are lower across the board. Maybe Target's not getting quite as many ETBs and sealed products as they used to, and so in order to make the same profit, you have to sell the same thing for more because there's less of it. So you have to make more money on one product. The same thing with local card shops. If they can't make their invoices, how can they give you discounts? If giving you the $100 booster box when they paid too close to $100 to make it worth it, they'll just sink. You can actually look at basic economics to understand why prices are rising. When supply is low and demand is high, the price goes up because it's not there to sell freely. And everybody wants it, so someone's gonna list it for way higher than it should be, and then someone's gonna buy that thing thinking they can't get it at a lower price, and then other vendors will follow suit because honestly, there's no rules. There's MSRP, which is, again, manufacturer's suggested retail price, but it's not the same as retail or even secondary market value. There are a lot of people that are calling people scalpers if they sell it over MSRP, but we get our product from official distributors, and the truth is that even they are not getting the same amounts of product as they used to. So not every distributor sells their product at the same price, and not every distributor keeps their price the same no matter the market value. And then if people are buying, again, there is no rule or law about how you sell your products. Otherwise, nobody would be selling above MSRP. There wouldn't even be a question about it. MSRP would be the law, but it's not, because there's literally no legality to saying like you can't sell it at this price or it's too overpriced or whatever. You have the choice to not buy it, and then if enough people don't buy it at that price, then vendors will be forced to lower their prices, which will in turn lower the prices at distribution. So then distribution centers will lose out and so on and so forth. It'll trickle down until everything lowers in price. So if you're a business of any sort, small business, big business, if you have overhead and you're raising your price above MSRP to not sink, I think that's valid. I mean, anyone who has started a business or runs a business knows this, but you're there to make a profit, not just for you, but for your overhead, for your family, for your workers' family, to make jobs, so on and so forth. If you don't have a profit, you can't do any of that. You're just a person spending money. So if we've established that a business exists to make a profit, then the next question is, how much is too much profit? I guess the easy answer to that is market value and up is fine until someone's not willing to pay the price. But at the same time, like, it's not really fair to base your opinion on what MSRP is because, one, MSRP used to be above market, but nobody was complaining then. Twilight Masquerade was, let's put it at a median of $120, which is still lower than $160. But no one was demanding that it be MSRP. And there were people selling it for $160 and by all accounts getting away with it. So there was no problem then. Look at Live Rip and Shippers. They have their prices on packs like $1 to $3 above market value, which is already probably $2 above retail or MSRP. But people are buying left and right. They're making their profit, they're making their business, they're making their sales. And it's not slowing down, despite the fact that it's like $11 for a pack of Surging Sparks when it should be $7. But people are buying. So is the problem the person for listing at a high price? Or is there also some contribution from the person who is paying the price? So if you don't want prices to stay high, don't buy it. Simple as that. Just wait. Because if everybody waits, all of the prices for everybody will go down. And I mean, at the end of the day, Infinite Chaos itself is a shop, but it's created for collectors by collectors. There were things that I bought. I almost exclusively bought from Target in the beginning because that was the cheapest, if I could find it. If I couldn't, then, I had alternate card shops. There were some things I couldn't buy, some things I bought even though I shouldn't have. Ultra Prism, $500 in 2021, and we opened it, because we wanted to. Like, don't get me wrong, there are scalpers out there. They exist, that's why the word's a word. So what I'm trying to say is, if there's a shop and they're charging over what you think they should be charging, they're not doing it to be a scalper, and it's not fair to call them a scalper just because they're trying to operate. So if you want to stick it to these people and you see something at a price that you're not willing to pay, don't buy it from them. The only way to change the status quo is to be different. And if enough people are different, then the status quo will change. But I could talk all day. Honestly, I could. So I want to hear what you think. What qualifies someone or a business even as a scalper? What should we do? What should they do? I want to hear from you. So let me know your thoughts in the comments.